You know, every year when the NFL MVP conversation starts heating up, there's always a short list of names that come up first. Mahomes, Allen, Burrow, the usual suspects. But this year, if you've been watching closely, you know there's another name forcing its way into that discussion: Dak Prescott. Now, I know some folks still love to debate whether Dak belongs in that elite tier, but the numbers and the vibe around this team tell a pretty compelling story right now. So let's break down why our guy is off to one of his strongest starts yet, why he's got a real shot at that prestigious MVP award, and what it'll take for him to actually bring it home to Dallas. First off, the numbers speak for themselves. Dak's been incredibly efficient, he's protecting the football, and he's racking up touchdowns like it's nobody's business. But it's more than just stats on paper. It's the confidence you see every time he steps on the field. He's commanding the offense, spreading the ball around, making smart reads and punishing defenses when they give him an inch. You can see the chemistry with his receivers growing week after week, and when you combine that with the way the offensive line has been holding up, it's no wonder he's putting up MVP-caliber numbers. But here's the thing, Dak's been down this road before. We've seen him start hot, only for the narrative to get overshadowed by injuries or tough stretches. This year, though, something feels different. There's a composure and a quiet confidence that's contagious. The whole locker room is feeding off it, and you can see it in how the defense is playing, too. It's like everyone knows they've got a shot at something special if they just do their part. I want to know what you think. Do you believe Dak can keep this up all season long? Drop your take in the comments, because you know I read every single one of them. And hey, if you're fired up to see Dak in the MVP mix, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and help us reach our goal of 15,000 subscribers. You won't want to miss a single update as this season unfolds. You know, the stats are impressive, no doubt about that, but if you've been following Dak Prescott for any length of time, you know his real power goes way beyond what shows up on the scoreboard. It's that leadership, the kind you can't teach, the kind that can hold an entire locker room together when things get tough. And that's exactly what Dak brings to the Dallas Cowboys every single day. When you hear his teammates talk about him, it's not just about the throws he makes on Sundays, it's how he sets the tone Monday through Saturday. He's the first one in the building, the last one to leave, and the guy who'll pull a young receiver aside to break down film just because he wants everyone to get better together. That kind of example spreads fast, and it's a huge reason why this team believes they can go toe-to-toe with anybody in the league. Remember a couple of seasons back when the Cowboys hit some rough patches? It was Dak standing at that podium taking accountability, never throwing anyone under the bus, and reminding everyone what this star on the helmet stands for. You see, a lot of quarterbacks can make flashy plays, but when it comes to guiding grown men through adversity, earning their trust, and inspiring them to dig deeper, that's where Dak sets himself apart. You can't underestimate how much that matters when it comes to the MVP conversation. Voters look for the total package, not just a guy with highlight reels, but someone whose presence lifts an entire franchise. And let's be honest, these guys in the locker room would run through a wall for him. Look at how the offensive line fights to protect him, how the wideouts go up and battle for every catch, and how even the defense feeds off his energy when he's on a tear. And it's not just the players either. The coaches trust him to call audibles, to adjust protection schemes, to see things only a handful of quarterbacks in the league can see at the line of scrimmage. That's leadership in action. When a team knows they have that guy under center, it changes everything. The confidence on the field, the vibe on the sideline, and even the faith of us fans watching from home. Think about it. How many quarterbacks in the NFC East can truly claim they've got the same locker room presence Dak has? It's not just about being the best passer, it's about being the best leader in the building, the one who gives you a chance to win every time he suits up. So let me ask you this. Simple yes or no. Do you think Dak Prescott is the best leader in the entire NFC East right now? I'd love to see your take in the comments, so don't hold back. And if you're feeling good about Dak leading this team all the way, do me a quick favor. Hit that subscribe button and join the Cowboys News TV family as we push toward that 15,000 subscriber milestone. Stick around, because up next, we're going to break down exactly who stands in Dak's way on this MVP journey and how he stacks up against the biggest names in the game. All right, so we know Dak's numbers are strong and his leadership is unmatched in that locker room. But if he wants to actually take home that MVP trophy, he's got to outshine some pretty serious competition. Let's talk about who's standing in his way and what it's really going to take for Dak to finish ahead of these other big-name quarterbacks when all is said and done. First off, you've got the usual suspects, guys like Patrick Mahomes, Joe Burrow, Josh Allen, and Lamar Jackson, all QBs who've been in the MVP conversation before. Mahomes is always going to be a threat, because the Chiefs just find ways to win, no matter what. Even when he's not putting up video game numbers, his highlight plays can swing the narrative in his favor with voters. But here's the thing, Dak's got something right now that Mahomes doesn't, and that's a clear, compelling story. The narrative matters in the MVP race. Dak's comeback arc, the way he's silenced critics, and how he's guiding America's team back into contender status, that's powerful stuff. Then there's Jalen Hurts over in Philly. You can't ignore him. He's got the dual threat ability, he racks up stats on the ground and through the air, and he's coming off a Super Bowl appearance. But while Hurts is electric, there's still a chance Dak can edge him out if the Cowboys get the better record in the NFC East. And Dak keeps up these big passing numbers. It's head-to-head matchups like that which will make all the difference when the final votes come in. You also have the rising stars, guys like Tua Tagovailoa or even C.J. Stroud, who've been putting up crazy numbers early on. But consistency is key. Voters want to see who can carry that fire all the way through December and into those critical final games. That's where Dak's experience really comes into play. He's been in big games, he knows how to handle pressure, and that could be the edge he needs down the stretch. One thing that could tip the scales? Winning big statement games, beating playoff-caliber opponents, doing it on prime time when everyone's watching, and delivering those highlight moments that voters remember when they fill out their ballots. And you better believe the Cowboys' national spotlight works in Dak's favor too. More eyes mean more chances to impress, and no team gets more coverage than Dallas when they're rolling. So if Dak wants to push past these other MVP contenders, it's going to take more of what we've seen so far: elite play, strong leadership, and stacking signature wins. And if this defense keeps giving him extra opportunities, the sky's the limit. But hey, that's just how I see it. What about you? Who do you think is Dak's biggest threat in the MVP race right now? Is it Mahomes, Hurts, or maybe someone else flying under the radar? Drop your pick in the comments below, because I want to see where Cowboys Nation stands on this one. And if you're loving this deep dive, go ahead and hit that like button. It really helps us reach more Cowboys fans like you and push us closer to that 15,000 subscriber mark. Keep it locked in, because next up, we're going to look at whether this entire Cowboys squad can keep rolling strong enough to make Dak's MVP dream a reality. You know, it's one thing for Dak to be playing lights out, but let's be real. An MVP run doesn't happen in a vacuum. The whole team has to keep the train on the tracks if he's going to stay in that conversation until the very end. So the question is, can the Dallas Cowboys keep rolling at a high enough level to back Dak's push for that prestigious award? Let's start with the defense, because honestly, they're one of the biggest reasons Dak has this shot in the first place. When you've got a unit that can create turnovers, sack the quarterback at will, and flip field position in your favor, it just makes life so much easier for your offense. We've seen this defense come up huge already, bailing out the offense when things have stalled, or giving Dak those extra possessions he needs to put points on the board. If that pass rush keeps terrorizing opposing QBs and the secondary stays locked in, it's going to be a nightmare for the rest of the league. But it's not just the defense. The coaching staff has to keep putting Dak in positions to succeed. That means smart play calling, adjusting when the run, game stalls, and finding ways to keep defenses guessing. So far, we've seen them open things up for Dak, letting him make more decisions at the line and trusting his experience to exploit matchups. That trust has to continue, and so does the offensive line play. If those big guys up front can stay healthy and keep Dak upright, he'll have every chance to keep dealing dimes downfield. Now, looking ahead, the schedule's got a few big tests circled in red. There are some heavyweight matchups coming that could make or break Dak's MVP campaign. Primetime games against playoff-caliber teams, tough divisional showdowns, and road trips where every mistake is magnified, those are the moments that define an MVP season. We've all seen how one statement win or one clutch fourth-quarter drive can change the entire narrative. But here's what makes me feel good about it. Dak's got the mindset for it. He's battle-tested, he doesn't shrink under the bright lights, and he knows what's at stake for this franchise and for himself. And the team around him, for the most part, looks hungry. They're not satisfied with just making the playoffs. They want to prove they belong at the very top. That mentality is exactly what can carry them through the grind of a long season. At the end of the day, it all comes down to execution and staying healthy. If the Cowboys can keep playing complementary football, defense creating turnovers, offense cashing in, special teams doing their job, there's no reason Dak can't stay in the MVP mix all the way to the finish line, and if they can lock up a strong record, especially winning the NFC East, that's going to weigh big with voters. So let me ask you, which game on the upcoming schedule do you think will be the biggest test for Dak and this Cowboys team? I'd love to hear what you think in the comments. And hey, if you truly believe the Cowboys are contenders this year, smash that like button for me. It really helps spread the word to more fans like you. Stick with me, because we're not done yet. Up next, we're going to look at what an MVP season would mean, not just for Dak, but for you, me, and every single Cowboys fan who's stuck by him through thick and thin. You know, we've talked all about Dak's numbers, his leadership, and the challenges he'll face on this MVP quest. But let's take a second to think about what it would actually mean for Dak Prescott to win this award and what it would mean for you and every Cowboys fan who's been riding this roller coaster right alongside him. For starters, it would be a massive stamp of validation for Dak himself. This is a guy who's battled through more than his fair share of injuries, contract drama, and constant outside noise questioning if he's really that guy. An MVP trophy would silence a lot of that for good. It would cement him among the true elite quarterbacks in the game today. Not just in the eyes of Cowboys fans, but across the entire league. And you can bet that respect would trickle down to every part of this team. But it's bigger than just Dak. If he pulls this off, it means the Cowboys are winning big games, staying competitive down the stretch, and putting themselves in position for something even more important, a deep playoff run. Because at the end of the day, that's what all of us want, right? It's been far too long since we've seen this team back in the big game, and an MVP season from Dak could be the spark that finally pushes this franchise over the hump. Imagine what it would feel like to watch him walk up on that stage, accept that award, and know that he earned every bit of it while repping that star on his helmet. It would be a moment that reminds everyone why we stick with this team through thick and thin. Because when the Cowboys get it right, there's nothing like it. The pride, the bragging rights, the joy of seeing your QB hoist that trophy, that's the stuff that brings a fan base together like nothing else. And if you've supported Dak through all the ups and downs, you deserve to see him get that recognition. You've cheered him on after tough losses, defended him when the critics came calling, and believed in his ability to lead this team the right way. That loyalty should pay off, and this year, it just might. So here's what I want to know. If Dak does win MVP, what would that mean to you personally as a Cowboys fan? Would it make you believe this is finally the year for that Super Bowl run? Drop your thoughts in the comments, because I know this fan base never holds back when it comes to showing love for our guys. And before you go, if you enjoyed this breakdown and you're ready to ride with Dak and the Cowboys all season long, hit that subscribe button. Let's smash through that 15,000 subscriber goal together. And turn on those notifications too, because trust me, you're not going to want to miss a single update, highlight, or breaking news story as this MVP journey unfolds. All right, that's all I've got for you today, but stick around, because here at Cowboys News TV, we're just getting started. Let's see where Dak can take us next.